Yeah. Non-pro guitar player here. Show you what I can do though. A little Enter Sandman. I need some work, that's for sure. This is my guitar. I used to take guitar lessons when I was like 15. This is like half a lifetime ago. I prefer the acoustic of anything. I think there's like some kind of masochistic enjoyment of it that I have. It really like scalds my fingers, but it's good. I feel like it's a real authentic guitar experience. And I mean, I get the electric sounds better in some instances and with certain types of music. I just think this is kind of classic. It's a classic guitar sound. So I've always kind of liked the acoustic more. But I've been really bad at committing to it. But seeing Jason putting your work into your channel, Neck Cheese, I've really enjoyed that. So I'm trying to be a little more committed to learning guitar. One thing I really struggle with is chords. I really struggle with like putting my index finger across a whole, I don't know the right terminology here, but the entire guitar. Like let's say I'm putting my finger down here, trying to get every string to play is really tough. It's always that fifth string right there. And then I can kind of finesse that last one. So that's always made chords kind of strenuous for me, but I guess that comes with the time, with practice. The more you put your finger down on it, the more you get it. And like I said, scalding, man. But I would like to recommit to guitar. My mom was so happy to see me pick this up again. She spent so much money on getting me a guitar back in the day, even on the lessons and stuff. I might even just go out of my way to sign up for lessons too. But in a recent surge of creativity, musical creativity, I walked up the block today and I've been eyeing something out for a while, and I'm gonna dabble in it. I don't have much language for it, although I did used to own FL Studios on my old computer. Then I did a reboot, so I don't own anything on there anymore. But I've never owned one of these. It's an MPC machine. I got myself an MPC Mini. You can get yourself like a real MPC machine where you don't need a PC hookup. This is USB, so like you plug it into the computer, and you can basically like map out whatever sounds or whatever samples you want to these keys, and you can like tap along, like, or whatever it is. I need the language for it. I need to watch some tutorials and stuff, but I got 30 days to bring this back if it's just not working. I've been interested in remixing video game soundtracks for quite some time, although I don't know where to start. I actually did do a video a long time ago on the gaming channel where I did remix Persona 5 track using FL Studios, just with the keyboard and everything. So I'm curious to see how this will go. I'm just looking to experiment. And I think it's gonna go all right as long as I get all the software and all the language down for everything. Because I'm actually undergoing kind of a real transformation in my life, and it's called digital minimalism. I'm going on somewhat of a digital declutter, kind of what I would say is a retreat of sorts, where I'm just erasing any and all major distractors in my internet presence life, and also just from the phone itself. I'm reading this audiobook. I'm reading an audiobook. I'm listening to an audiobook called Digital Minimalism. I'm not sure who the author is, but I'm like a third of the way through, and I really like some of the principles and practices that are preached in it. One thing that the author kind of says is that we are constantly leading connected lives, where we always must be connected to the world in some way, whether it's sharing an Instagram post or what, if it's like, for me personally, it's like sharing my videos to platforms. And then what the problem is like, okay, you do that, you treat it professionally, but then you end up scrolling and looking at stuff. For me, I've had the whole summer off. So I with the political climate, I've just become so invested in everything and anything that doesn't necessarily always have a lot to do with me. And I'm always like looking for stories. And I find that I'm so spread out among apps between Reddit, Twitter, news, YouTube. Even before any of this, YouTube was just my time sink. I would always like scroll through the subscriptions feed, like, did I see everything? What am I subscribed to? I put a lot of time into these apps. And as a point of, reference, like a data point, my phone today, this is an accomplishment and a scary thought. It says your weekly screen time. It says your screen time is down 39% to an average of 3 hours a day. Now, granted, I get like maybe I have the phone uploading a video to Google Drive or something, or maybe I'm like playing YouTube music or something. But the screen time doesn't even factor in when I'm just playing music or a podcast or something. So to me, this is a real thing in my life, whereas that time could be going into this, to this, or to this, or to this, and it's such an easy fix that's very hard to admit that it needs fixing. Because I think the issue is like we come home from work and it's like, oh, we just want to relax, whatever it is. And granted, if you're working, I wasn't working this summer, you're probably not putting in 3 hours a day. But the average smartphone user puts in, they look at their phone an average of 40 times a day. There's this kind of perception of our phone as like, oh, we're bored, so instinctually pull it out. And like, what the thing is you have to erase this mindset of like instinctual habit for anything that is digitally convenient. Sure, it might be great to like have Twitter and Facebook, whatever, on the phone, but if it leads to you just sinking time into looking at posts that are not really adding value to your life, then why continue to do it? It's something I'm personally excited for. It's not something I would honestly advise for everyone. I don't think everyone needs it, but I think a lot more people need it than are willing to admit to. It's worth like reflecting on your own usage of these kind of apps. Personally, for me, the YouTube creative process has never been so strictly tied to, like refreshing pages and looking at comments. But that's what comes with the territory, especially when I have it on the phone. It was a hard decision to take it off of my phone. Like I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, oh, I really want to, keep YouTube so I can listen to my podcasts or whatever, and because I have YouTube Premium. But I recognize that it is a real issue as far as my time investment. I want to optimize my time. I want to be able to put out videos. I like making videos. I like sitting here in front of the camera and talking. I like being myself. But if those kind of apps inhibit that time, then I'm going to cut them out. I have a strict plan. It's actually going to start today. I'm deactivating my social media accounts that are not YouTube. And I'm going to also try and maximize my time with what I do use and any and all electronic usages. So let's start with recently I've been really getting into the David Pakman Show on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. I think he does a great kind of like daily roundup of news from Monday through Friday, and he's so consistent with it. He covered the RNC and the DNC. And you know, he provided live commentary over them, offering honest insights. He's not too far on either side, left or right, for American politics, which I appreciate. I appreciate like the humbling, honest perspective. A lot of like, I guess people at that level where he's at are not as like don't show as much humility. So I do appreciate him for that. Also for that grind. I think it's a great model for like content creation. I'm not cutting out video games per se, but anything that connects to the internet naturally, like the PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, even my 3DS, I'm only going to use those if I'm playing a video game for the button mappers. Otherwise, I don't want that console connected at any time. YouTube on the phone, I'm debating reinstalling it because like this was almost a hard decision too. I think with Tez Rec Room, with this channel, I actually unsubscribed from everything except the button mappers. So no sub for sub here, sorry. Because I have YouTube Premium on there, and I kind of agree with myself that with YouTube on the phone, I would only use it for the button mappers, but I may even extend that to the browser, not for like subscribing purposes, but just for listening back to our episodes, making sure I'm happy with them. Because I do look at like the button mappers as like kind of a more professional usage of my time. Facebook and Twitter are deactivated on the browser and the phone. And here's the interesting thing. Twitter, if you're not active, if you deactivate your account and you're not active for 30 days, which is the extent of this digital declutter, the account deletes. So I may not have a Twitter account after this whole process. And personally, I think I can live with that. I don't think I've had any major like new kind of friendships blossom out of Twitter. It's been useful when used right, but it's also been a massive time sink. I hate falling into the trap of looking at like news that's trending and like using it as a news source. It was good for when it was good this year, as far as like keeping up with things in America, but currently it's not doing me any favors. So I'd be okay with that. I also deleted Reddit and the news from my phone. Reddit's been weird for me because I honestly don't have bad interactions on there, but as far as like creating new friendships and stuff, it's also been like kind of like almost sub for subish, you know, in a way. And then I'm creating like deliberate text messaging and call hours. But that's my plan, and my hope is that by the end of this, not only that over the course of the month I've invested more time into these things, but I've also just become like a happier person. I feel like I lose that sometimes, social media, and I think even this point of comparison, even on YouTube, like seeing other channels, tends to give me negative like feelings, and I don't like it. Like I don't like being swayed that way because of what I do in my spare time. Like my job, if I have negative feelings for my job, so be it. You know, I went in and I did my job and I got paid. But when it comes to, you know, my free time, there's no reason the things I'm doing in my free time should be causing me negative emotions. And I think that's like why I preach that to people. If you can use the social media responsibly, then by all means. But, you know, on average, our kids these days, like the generation of kids will, like, you know, in high school and middle school, have an average of 9 hours a day of screen time on their phones. I'm not one to preach or anything because, like, you know, my TV is probably up too, and my laptop and whatever. So like I'm digitally, you know, enamored as well, not as much into the phone per se. But I think there is a smart way of using these technologies, and I'm really looking forward to developing some kind of creative pursuit out of it and really honing it, if you know what I mean. That's it for today. As far as future content, next week I've got kind of a difference. I know I was like a day off today. I like to do these on Saturday nights, but that's fine. Sunday, Saturday, it's one or the other. It's kind of just the weekly roundup, if you will. I have a road trip vlog posting on next Saturday, so you could be there for that. And I'm trying to do a video response to Malta Masters' top 20 hip hop albums. I'm still trying to like organize it and determine what 20 albums I want on there. 20 is a big number. I respect him for doing it, but I feel like I have so much I want to say about each album. I feel like the video is gonna drag on. But that's it for today. Let me know what you liked out of today, what you'd be more interested in seeing, what worked, what you think doesn't work. And you know, if you're new here, subscribe. I very much appreciate it. It makes me feel good inside, after all this talk about digital consumption, but whatever. Thanks for watching. It's been Ted's Rec Room. I will catch you next time with more fun to talk about.